There is some things that fall into a gray area.
Okay, call to order the Parks and Recreation Board meeting on June 10th, 2024 at 6 p.m. All those who are able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, the flag's not up.
Oh, just a minute. Where's the flag?
It's up on the.
Oh,
I can't release.
it's on stage.
Isaiah was gone today, so
All right.
we have Phil in set up the room.
But forget about the flag.
I'll grab it.
Thank you,
Sure,
Dustin.
man.
Yeah, thank you, gentlemen.
Now we got a flag.
Let's try it again. Here we go. Ready?
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lori, can I please get the roll call?
Zach Gaynor,
Here.
Patty Burns. Here. Evan King.
Here.
Joanna Para. Here. Sherry Simmons. Here. Don Weber, I will keep an eye open for him. Your ex officio this evening, Councilor Robert Kendall.
Here.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any corrections or changes to the minutes from May 13th? No? Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from May 13th?
A motion to approve.
Can I get a second?
Jinx. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No? Okay. Minutes are approved. Lori, did you receive any public comments prior to the meeting?
I did not.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to make a public comment?
They're all here for presentations.
You're all here for presentations?
And an application, yeah.
And an application.
Rowan's the other one online, so I think we're good with public comments.
Okay. All right. Well, moving on. Mr. Weber, how you doing, sir? Good to see you. All right. Well, we have an applicant. Matt Lyman, are you here today?
Yes.
Perfect. Do you want to go ahead and grab a seat?
Happy to.
We got your application. Everybody have a chance to review Matt's application?
Probably not. If you want to push the button up on the microphone.
Yep, pull it towards you.
Oh, there you go, bring mine up.
Perfect. All right, Matt, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're here tonight?
Happy to. My name is Matt Lyman. I moved out to North Plains not all that long, about 4 months ago. Raised 4 kids in Hillsborough, and it was just time to downsize our homes. For the last 20 years, I found myself involved quite a bit with sports, with what my kids were doing, with the scouts, with what my kids were doing. Feels like I've coached countless teams and been on countless campouts where it's just rained all night long. But they were always fun looking back at it. For my day job, I work for a company in Wisconsin called Action Floor Systems. We manufacture and sell wood athletic flooring. 2 of our more recent examples are here in North Plains, at North Plains Elementary School gym and the Athletic Elementary gym. Both came from our sawmill. So I have quite a bit of experience working in schools, also with rec centers over the years. And I enjoy being involved. I have time, and I'm here, not going anywhere. I'm certainly open to any questions, and feel free. My life's a little bit open.
Perfect. We appreciate you being here. Just a second, I'll open it up to the rest of the board here. Whereabouts in Wisconsin?
Mercer, Wisconsin.
Okay.
If you go not too much further north, you're in Lake Superior, Michigan.
Yeah.
So it's way north. There are no traffic lights in this town.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Not too unlike North Plains, so I kind of like it.
Ain't that the truth? I spent the last 20 years. I just moved here from Wisconsin, so
Fantastic.
yeah, I forgot to ask. All right. Well, board, we'll open it up. Any questions for Mr. Lyman?
How long have you been in North Plains? We moved in February. We moved into Brindle. I've certainly been out here over the years, playing golf and friends and family. I'm also the golf coach for the high school as well as friend. So, yeah, I just love being here. I love how quiet it is. It's our house backs up to the fields. And so it's just kind of I can. I see number 9 at the end of number 8.
Yeah, please.
With your background and experience that you have and also applying for the board, what are your interests or is there any particular interest you have in or ideas to engage within the board of doing here in North Plains within the board of Parks and Recreation?
That's a great question. Thank you. Some thoughts come to mind, and the board has much already moved in this direction, but creating events for the community. That's exciting to me. For 3 years, I ran the Bite of Oregon, which was the big food and wine festival downtown. COVID and, a lot of life killed that in about 2020. But I love being a part of that. I was bringing a program together to support Special Olympics, to bring people together, bring great food, great music, and just feel like you're a part of something. As I work at the high school right now, I've become a stronger and stronger fan of just kids being involved with anything outside of school. I think that includes us as well as grown-ups. We need to be engaged with other people. And creating those opportunities, I think, is something that's in my wheelhouse, something I'm passionate about. So creating opportunities to be in community.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else?
Have you
Sure.
ever been on that board before?
I have. I opened a 501c3 for Liberty Youth Football. I ran that board for 4 years. And then I was president of the board for the Booster Club at Liberty High School for the football team as well. So certainly, dealt with the state of Oregon and the secretary and make sure we get our minutes right and learn some lessons along the way. So I do have some experience in that at a city level, at a civic level. I don't have it. I'm looking forward to it.
No questions?
Perfect. Sorry. Anybody else? Any other questions? No? Okay. Well, Matt, thank you for your time.
Can I ask you guys a question?
What's that?
Can I ask you guys a question?
Please. Yeah, I guess I should have said that. Do you have any questions for us?
What are the goals of the board? Like, what does the Park and Rec board want to get done in your term and short term?
It's a great question. Anybody want to take that to start?
I don't have the list in front of me.
That's okay. What do we got going?
Well, I think it goes, we just recently met, what was it, March and April, to discuss our short-term and long-term goals. And just where we as a board currently right now define what those look like. And within the short term, they did look like, what can we do now with the time we have feasible and the budget we have feasible, which goes for engaging with community more sorts of events and the things that we can do now. The longer term goals were, what is the vision of having, what are the needs in the parks currently right now, and how can we expand on those needs? One of them is where we are at currently right now with the kitchen. How can we make this be a more feasible place for community events, for gatherings, for parties, for everything, and that would be for the kitchen. Right now, is this place that stands only as this room right here, but improving the kitchen would really bring a great deal of benefit to have a space locally here within North Plains. So those are the goals, and then from there, moving on to the bigger, more long-term goals, which I feel will not be defined more so until the city as a whole redefine what that's gonna look like with the urban growth and things that are happening within just the growth of the city. So there definitely is different goals and we work together as a team here. And what was a priority to each one of us individually, and then gathering those. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, you
we tried some practical stuff, like, we tried some gym nights for kids.
I saw that, I read
So we
those.
rented the gyms, and that was a lot of fun on the 2 gym floors held up very well.
Well, they should, that was all of us in this room, so that's good.
That was fun. So that would be an example, I think, of small things.
We're
For
also-
some of us, I've been kind of open, I'm biased. My long-term dream would be a rec center with a swimming pool where, because I think a lot of us would agree, our bias is we want to get people moving in North Plains at all ages, right? We want to get more opportunities to get outside, do stuff. I think COVID was a disaster for that. People got used to being inside. So that's what we just started to try to figure out, you were just saying. So, yeah.
I'd agree with you.
And I'd like to add that, when the UGB comes around, that a Parks Master Plan will need to be updated. So that'll take a bunch of work as well.
Yeah. Another example for another short-term plan we have is we're looking into adding more events, sort of like the gym night for the kids. We're also trying to add events that add more to all the community, such as movie nights, which we're looking into at the moment as well. Try to get everyone involved.
And the dog park.
What's that?
And the dog park.
Yeah. Yep.
Pacific Park.
Pacific, that's.
We're not really doing much of that. That's sort of doing itself.
A little bit.
I'll give an update on that later.
Park
Yeah.
is forward, yep.
Perfect. Any other questions?
I think that's it. I'm grateful for your time, and thank you for having me here today.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Grateful you
Yeah.
applied.
Absolutely. Anything else?
Should I turn this on?
Yeah, go ahead.
So this comes as a recommendation to council for
Okay.
appointment, and today's Monday. We could actually get it on next Monday's city council agenda if you so choose.
Okay.
So
So do we do it right in front of them?
you can. you have-
Sorry, I'm new to this, so I'm still trying to.
That- Yeah, he's a quick learner though, so you can either do a consensus vote, or you can do a I move and I second, and then a regular vote. Either one is fine, because it's not saying it's not important, but it's not approving a resolution or an ordinance or anything. It's just a recommendation. So
Yeah.
however you want to have them address it.
Okay, I move that we recommend Matthew Lyman to city council for approval.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No? Okay. Motion approved.
So I will send you an email tomorrow, just confirming what you just watched, and inviting you, if you're able to come to the council meeting on Monday. These are usually done under the consent agenda, which is like the first 10 minutes of the meeting. They just like to meet the new board members, and you might know some of the councilors already, but you'll be able to see all of them here, and it'll just be a procedure to confirm that you'll be a member of the board starting the July meeting. Mhm.
You okay with that? Okay. If it's okay with everybody here, I'd like to jump around a little bit. I know we have a lot of people here that are away from their families, and I don't want to sit and listen to us all night. So if everybody's okay with that, we'll come back to some of our other agenda items once we conclude with Bryn Hill. With Bryn Hill, if that's okay with the board here and everybody else to move forward, to skip them ahead. Are you guys okay with that?
You have to talk to the board members.
I motion to approve.
Motion approved.
Just
We're good?
consensus is good.
Perfect. All right. Come on up.
Before they go,
Yeah.
Steve actually has a presentation
Okay.
about this, kind of give some
Just,
background information.
Sure.
You can stay there, but staff's gonna provide a little presentation first, and then we'll kick it over to you guys for whatever you guys like to talk about. Good evening, Parks Board. My name is Steve Miller. I'm the planning manager for the city of North Plains, and the reason I'm here tonight is because I don't believe any of you were on the Parks Board in 2022. I apologize. Seen a lot of new faces. But this proposal came before the Parks Board back in 2022 on how the Bryn Hill Phase 4 Park, the linear parks, and Phase 5 parks were going to be developed. And so I thought I'd provide you a little bit of that history and some of the conversations that have taken place over the last couple of years, so you understand how we got to where we're at tonight. I drive it from here.
Share screen here. And which one do you want?
Let's see, let's go to the
2022.
2022. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So in 2022, Lennar and Pacific Community Design came before the Parks Board to present this presentation, October 10th, 2022. And I'm not going to go through everything. I'll just kind of hit the highlights here, which are going to be the slides that show the layouts for the park. So for those who aren't familiar with Bryn Hill, this is what we're talking. This is Phase 4. This is the park that was in Phase 4. These are the linear parks associated with Phase 4, and then Phase 5 park is over here. And so when they came in 2022, they presented a Phase 4 park that looked like this. And then they presented a Phase 5 park that looked like this. Through those discussions, the Parks Board requested that this park get a restroom added to it, and that the Phase 5 park get a skate park added to it here in this area. And so what happened as a result of that is Lennar agreed to that and came back and added the restroom facility to the Phase 4 park here and added the skate park to the Phase 5 park here. And the agreement was, and this is a little bit more what the skate park would look like. And the agreement was that Lennar would build these facilities and the city would maintain them. We would maintain the restroom and we would maintain the park, and we would take on the liability for these two structures. And what I've been working on since 2022 is trying to get a maintenance agreement to Lennar. Unfortunately, due to limited staff and a busy schedule, it's been something that's not been completed yet. But I did send an email to them on around the 2nd or 3rd of June, asking for some information on the HOA, because our attorney has now completed the maintenance agreement for these facilities. What I was told is I got an email on 4/23 saying that, and this is the first time I heard of it, that they are having reservations with the skate park. And then when I sent them the maintenance agreement on 6/2 or 3, the response I got was they don't believe that the skate park is a good fit for the community any longer. I'm shocked by this development because for 2 years it wasn't. For 2 years it was perfectly fine, and for 2 years I continually got, where's the maintenance agreement? Where's the maintenance agreement? We need to get the maintenance agreement done. We're on Phase 4. We've got to get the maintenance agreement done. And now it's not right for the community. And what they've rolled back on is they want to do this now. They want to do this design. The one that the original Parks Board said no to. We want more. We already got a lawn area. We got a lawn area in Phase 1. We don't need that now. We want each park to play off one another and provide additional amenities. So we have the separate amenities throughout the whole project. And now we're getting one taken away and we're getting put back lawn, which is what the Parks Board said no to. So I want to make sure that you guys understand the history because again, many of you were not here, and there's been a lot of work on trying to get the skate park in place and get the agreements done so we can get these amenities. So I'm here to answer any questions that you may have, and I look forward to hearing the presentation of the applicant.
Thank you, Steve.
Yep.
Just one thing to add, I guess I just have a different memory of it, but I remember the discussion of the park and all the gravel things, but I remember initially there were several of us very concerned about the skate park, did not feel it was a good idea. The other thing that came up that several of us felt pretty strongly on is there was enough people in Bryn Hill, we should let the Bryn Hill people weigh in on the decision. So I would just say from my perspective, it was not ever a strong mandate, and I think that's why I think it continues to come up in some of our discussions. A concern of whether it's a good match for the neighborhood of Brain Hill and whether or not we should give them more say in deciding it. And I think we have the advantage now is we have two people from that community on this group. And I don't know, I guess I don't have a problem in re-looking at it now. I don't see a problem doing that. I'd love to get more input from the people of that neighborhood since they're the ones that are most impacted by it.
All I can say is that the planning commission, the city council believe that's what's going to happen in phase 5. And we, at the ice cream social, received several people saying, when are we going to get a skate park? So for whatever it's worth, that's happened.
So right now, we're at a point that the skate park is a no, or that's what's in it. I just want to understand where do we stand at right now?
Well, I'm sorry, what's that?
Where do we stand right now between Lennar and the decision with the city of, so is the skate park not a go at all? And we're looking at ideas of what to do, or I just want to get an idea.
I think that's what you're going to decide tonight is whether or not the skate park is a go or not. I'm sharing with you that everybody believes it is, and we've moved forward with that intention. That's why we've created a maintenance agreement around that, because for the last 2 years with Lennar, that's been the conversation. We're doing a skate park and we're doing a bathroom. The city's going to take over full maintenance of these facilities, so it's no burden on the HOA at Bryn Hill. We will have that. And we've looked into that. We've done the research on getting the insurance for it, on what the cost of the maintenance would be, when well, we got the maintenance agreement in place. So again, from everybody that works at the city, to the elected folks and to some of the volunteers, they all are believing that this is how this is going to be developed.
And then my other question, I wasn't here at the time, you know, when the decision for the skate park, when we was decided on, was that a unanimous, like the majority of the city input that they wanted a skate park? Or who does the we on the decision of a skate park come from?
Are you saying, did the residents of Bryn Hill weigh in?
No, the residents of North Plains in general, because I believe by that time.
So, yeah, it's a good question. I can give you a little bit of history there. Before I arrived, there was an effort at putting a skate park into North Plains. It was kind of an ad hoc type of an effort there between some businesses and the city and whatnot. And unfortunately, it wasn't really designed to any standard. It was a little rickety, if you will. And because of some of the issues that arose of it not being to standard, it couldn't get insured and some other issues came up. So it ended up being taken down. My understanding is since it's been taken down, there's been a large outcry to get something brought back. And it's also my understanding that it's one of the top 2 requests that we receive in the city. The top 1A and 1B type amenities for parks that we're hearing right now are skate park and splash park.
I'd like to understand why Lennar is saying no.
Pardon?
I'd like to understand why Lennar is saying no.
Well, they're here to tell you that tonight.
Is it because of the cost? Is it too expensive for you to?
Why don't we just let this?
We'll give them their
I would
presentation.
appreciate if we let PCD do their presentation first and then have the social discussions. That would be.
I would agree. Are we good to move forward?
Whenever you're ready.
Yeah.
Whenever the questions are done, I guess, with staff.
Are you guys okay with hearing the presentation? Okay, please, floor is yours.
Don't need their PowerPoint.
Appreciate you taking the time to do that.
Thank you, and thank you, Steve, for that rundown, that history. My name is Maureen Jackson, and I'm an associate project manager with PCD. I'm here tonight with Ben Holmes, who is PCD's senior landscape architect. And the first couple slides that I have here was just sort of a rundown of where we're at. So we can
It's just taking some time.
okay. Well, I think you're all familiar with Bryn Hill, where it's located in relation to this particular park, the elementary school, and the downtown, the Main Street. And what you might not be familiar with is what's currently or what has been approved or already constructed in Brent Hill as far as parks and open spaces. So I just wanted to give you an update. So phase 1 of Brent Hill is about a 1.5 acre neighborhood park, and it includes a playground, shelter, picnic tables. Phase 1 also includes the basketball court and the stormwater pond that's designed as an open space, well, an attractive open space amenity. Phase 2 has a mini park, which is just under an acre of area that also has pickleball courts, another playground, and then fitness equipment. Phase 3 was designed as the linear park, also in phase 4. So the linear park is designed and approved to include a putting green, bocce court, chess tables, cornhole, and play areas. And then again, of course, all of the parks and open spaces include bike racks, pet waste stations, trash cans, and drinking fountains. So right now I'll hand it over to Ben, who'll talk through the design for Parks 4 and 5, and then Michaela Deere is here from Lennar that can answer any questions regarding the design, change in design, or the maintenance.
Yeah, I'm Ben Holmes, senior landscape architect, PCD. Stated, I know there's a lot of new board members since the original designs and were presented, and also some Brent Hill residents, so that's great to have that perspective. On the project, I know the skate park's going to be a top of discussion, but I just want to walk you guys through the concepts that we presented, phase 4 and 5. So phase 4 part is, if you're familiar with Brent Hill, it's at the kind of intersection of Timberick and Yorkshire on Main Street. Main's kind of the angle there at the bottom left of the plan view there. Part is kind of walking through the top right corner, a large lawn area with the built-in amphitheater, covered stage, some table seating to host those community events such as the movie, and an excellent spot for that. 2 separate play areas, so we're common to separate those now with kind of talk area, ages 2 to 5, and a larger area for 5 to 12. A large amount of seating in between, so parents can be there and watching both sides of it. Large trees planted throughout, drought tolerant plant materials, attractive planting, but keeping visual corridors open throughout the park, so there's a lot of eyeballs on it. Just watch kids and make sure nothing's going on that you don't want in the community. Hard and soft trails, we like to mix up the trails, so it's just not all concrete. You know, we have some crushed gravel trails that provide more of an experience going through the park than your typical just concrete pathways, and then along with all the other typical amenities with bike racks, benches, water fountain, trash cans, and then and there's the restroom. That's where the restroom facility would be located. It'd be a built-in adult structure. Probably 2 stalls. Would be right central of the park there. Next is phase 5 park, which is at kind of the triangle intersection of Terrell, Timberick, and 937. Sorry, 317. And it's about 0.65 acres in size. Then there's 2 play areas, to provide different experiences. It's gonna be more of a nature play, like logs and climbing things and, have a bright color, stuff kind of like we see out here. So just to provide a little bit different experience there as you're going through the park system. Yeah, park shelter for fitness and just shaded places for parents to sit. Hard and soft multi-use trails. Again, same type of planting large trees, outdoor plantings, attractive. And we had a fire pit and some benches on the left-hand corner there to provide a communal experience space. More variety throughout the park system that we don't have yet. Let's kind of walk through the park. Thank you for the time. Encourage your thoughts and comments.
Can you explain, or somebody, how the practical part of the paying for the project works? Like, if we wanted to pick one idea versus another and one costs more than the other, does that mean you pay more, or does that affect us?
Yeah, would you guys like me to come up to the table?
Please.
Yeah, please.
Microphone.
Hi, everyone. This is the first time that I've met most of you. My name is Michaela Deere. I am the project manager of Bryn Hill. I've been with the project for the last 3 years. So most of the work that you've seen has, been myself out here at Bryn Hill. Been very excited and very privileged to work with such a great community. One of the kind of the aspects that we're working with is that all of the Lennar pays SDCs upfront for all of the homes that we build in the community. We also have another agreement with the city where we get reimbursed in credits for the development that we have done here. So for all of the parks that we have built, they've been 100% reimbursed by the city. And so these 2 parks, as part of that, and part of our agreement is that as much SDCs we pay up in the home price, so if that is a $2.5 million figure, we will get up to $2.5 million back in credits for the parks that we develop. So I don't know if that's it's a wash for Lennar in some sense when you're paying SDCs, but that would be applicable to these projects. So the skate park and the bathroom, or about the phase 4 park in itself is about roughly over $1.1 million. The phase 5 park, including that skate park, was roughly a $950,000 figure as well, that Lennar would get reimbursed for the development. So that's, I think, what John Weber is referring to as in kind of the financial aspect of this park.
Well, I was just curious, like, I don't know, is the skate park like a cheaper option or a more expensive option than?
In total, it's about a $450,000 cost when you're looking at the underground system as well as all the concrete associated
But
with
compared
it.
to not having one, it's 450 extra, or how much extra?
$450 extra.
That's 450 extra that in a sense we're taking out of the city's parks money, because it's our money.
Yes. I'm not exactly sure how the financials of the city works.
We
in that
spend
respect.
450,000 less, who gets the money?
I think the city would keep that money.
I'll help you with that a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Go
the
ahead.
agreement is that these parks will be available to the entire citizens of North Plains. They're basically public parks, right? They're not just going to be for the residents of of Bryn Hill. Because of that, we went into the agreement with Lennar that we will pay for these parks, right? The city has agreed to the skate park, right? So it's not coming off of them. They're getting the money back. They're getting reimbursed for doing the development. This is like building any other public improvement, like a street, right? They build the street and they maintain it for a year, and then we take it over. They're building the park, but we're going to pay for it. And then we're going to maintain some amenities within the park, and the HOA will maintain the rest. But the reason the agreement is the way it is because we have these parks now available to the entirety of the city and not just the subdivision.
Yeah, and so kind of with that public access easement, the HOA of Bryn Hill still owns the property. and they're the ones that maintain all the landscaping, all of the playground equipment. So as we approached the city and had previous conversations about the other parks, the amenities like the bathroom and the skate park were brought to our attention that that is what the city really wanted to have implemented here. Those were two items that we did not initially bring to the land use decision or to the Parks Board or the City Council at the beginning of the project. I believe we had met all the code standards required for city parks, and then these were two additional asks that were asked to bring in, and with the agreement that the city would maintain them, then we would move forward if the financials worked out. So we understand that the conversation has been the bathroom, which we are very happy to provide in phase 4, and then the skate park. And then just as the 2 years have evolved and we've developed the Bryn Hill community, we've had several people come forward saying that the skate park would be better in a different location in the city, possibly with the urban growth boundary expansion with different recreation areas. This ends up being one of the highest density areas of Bryn Hill. We have the smallest product and the most townhomes within this small phase 5 park. And so in order to incorporate more full age-friendly different amenities, we decided to move away from the skate park and then wanted to present this idea to you guys, as well as let you know what's currently working at the park. So one of the items that we just put in is the putt-putt green, and that has been really well received by the community. There's been people using it as a soccer field, other things. And so in the lawn area, if this is kind of a future discussion, we have some more ideas of, would it be better to put in a small, like, other sporting area that might be a little bit more age-friendly and useful to everybody, regardless of your skateboarding skills. So for, we look at our sales and we look at how the market is going with homes and stuff. And so we felt that this community, or in this community in particular, putting a skate park kind of segregated how many people could use this park. And that is why we have moved away from it. We did want to bring in the fire pit area, and then talk about other amenities that might be more in line with some of the Bryn Hill residents.
I'm sorry, I just didn't, maybe everybody else understood, but I still am confused. If we spend a couple $100,000 less, isn't that a couple $100,000 the city then has?
The city, from what I understand, really likes the skate park idea, Don.
That's not the question.
Well, I'm saying they like it so much it's in budget. It's in the budget of the city. That's why the request was made. Because not only is it something that's in budget, but it's something that the community has shared with us as being a community need. So that's why the conversation started with Lennar. We don't have any new land in the city right now for it to go anywhere else. And the city just voted down the UGB expansion. So we don't know when new land is going to come on. We know we have this land. We know it's available for a park, which is why the park board's requested a bathroom and a skate park.
Again, a correction, I just looked back at the minutes. I was there at the October meeting. We did not approve a skate park. We discussed things for the 4th and 5th park, which didn't have a skate park at the time. The board chair felt very strongly he wanted a skate park. I think the city manager felt strongly. We simply gave feedback. That feedback then went. I looked at the minutes. I didn't see where we ever did a motion for that. So there was mixed feelings from our group. Some liked it, some didn't. It went to planning, went to city council. I get that. The only position I'm pushing on is if we could, I would probably take another month. We've got 3 people from Bryn Hill here. I would say survey your people, get some votes. I mean, I live in Sunset Ridge. I would say 80 to 90% of the people, at least that use our parks, live in Sunset Ridge. So my only strong feeling is we should let them have a strong say in the park that's in their development. Now, obviously, anybody can go there, but Skate parks potentially have issues like in this high density area. They tend to make noise. There's often music being played. I just would favor to let Bryn Hill have more of a say. Now, I guess the question back to you, Steve, is are we allowed to even have the conversation we're having now?
What was your last
Can we
question?
revisit, has money already been spent on this park? Are we allowed to revisit this discussion?
You're revisiting it right now.
And that's okay.
And that's why we're, excited to be here to have this further conversation. Since it was just recently given to us, that maintenance agreement for the bathroom, we thought it was appropriate to, rehab this conversation now that we are looking to fully develop and solidify the plan for these two parks. So in our eyes, yes, we've had conversations with it, but we also were apprehensive of the city's delay in getting those maintenance agreements to us.
Good question.
Yes.
Have you done a survey of your residents of what they want in the park?
Currently not. That is not something that's not something that we typically provide. A lot of park decisions are created at land use, and the feasibility is created at land use, and that's something that we go off of. Bryn Hill has a unique opportunity of being Lennar's biggest community within the Oregon metropolitan area. And so it's been kind of an ever evolving project as we've moved on, but it was not originally discussed in our land use. I don't know if that's something that we could do, but I think our HOA would be able to set something up through a survey through the Nextdoor portal that they use. If that's something that the community would like to see, and see if there is a populace of people that would prefer a skate park or another recreational field or more seating, and what's currently working for them.
Let's ask the two people that live there.
I would be interested. I'm coming into the perspective, if we're having this conversation now, and can rethink, I'm coming to perspective of the side of North Plains and using the area for what is best to serve a varying age group from youth all the way to seniors. And we have three surrounding state parks. Berkeley has one, Hillsborough has one, I believe Forest Grove has one. And I wanted to know what type of skate park, because is this for for kids that are just barely learning how to skate, and that's going to take the whole, a skate park can have so many different variations of that type of skate park and what it's going to entail. So it's really going to seclude even age and even, is it only for beginners? Is it for intermediate? What is that? And what is truly the need of the use of, and coming from the comments that we've already received. I mean, we've already had, I believe, a complaint from the new elementary school because the fields there are so popular and they're on reservation. You can only reserve a field there. So you have to pay to use those fields for, whether it's soccer organizations, football organizations, or leagues, or however it is, or someone rents it. And they're so popular that, they're being rented, and the community, when the gates are open, are wanting to go in and use. So what is missing here is more of a value, or a lot of other people, is the question I would want to raise. I live in Bryn Hill. I can't speak on behalf of you, because I don't have little ones that skate. Coming from another city and working with Parks and Rec, I know that the use of skate parks are very much down. Not a huge interest as it was years ago, even 4 or 5 years ago. So into that perspective, definitely serving the Bryn Hill community. And I would even want to, because it's going to be a public park for the city of North Plains, not for the Bryn Hill community. I would love to include, if we can, in anything that's coming up, any events coming up, if we can have some kind of a table where us from here can serve the community that goes to these events and get their question, their opinion on, do you just prefer a skate park, a soccer field, basketball, whatever that can be. So that the community at large also has some type of gather some data. Well, if that's something that we especially since we're having a couple of events coming up in the next 2 months, I think that's where we can gather data from. community. I don't know what the timeframe is. Is there a timeframe that is needed?
So.
For the decision to move forward?
So, because the phase 4 park is fairly designed at this point, and that subdivision phase has been completed, we're currently actively building homes. I'd love to get some feedback on that park specifically. And then we are currently developing the phase 5 subdivision right now, as you can see. That timeline for construction is, we start paving in July, so the project will be completed towards the end of October, early November. It wouldn't be until after the subdivision has been fully built that we would develop the phase 5 park. So, if it is okay with us separating, originally we had the idea of putting forward both parks at the same time, but I agree that if we want to survey the community and get some more feedback, we have the opportunity to separate them out, go forward with the phase 4 park, and then table the phase 5 park and work on that design further.
I do agree with what was said earlier, that just providing green, like the lawn, I mean, Greenville already has that one, and the other, what is that, phase 1 or phase 2?
Phase 1,
I agree, something does need to be different happen in this area, not just a lawn area. There's already a lawn area. There's a lawn area right behind us right here. So I would want it to be something that is of use, but of real use that can be sustainable for different variety of age groups.
Yeah.
Use, not just a lawn, because we have several lawns. But what can that look like?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I know some people wonder about big turf, but the thing that happens in North Plains, that elementary schools, I think because of cost, they don't really water the grass in summer. So you can't really take your kids out there and play much because it dries out, and then they water it back up. Like you said, the big grass area in Bryn Hill, it's really hard to have perfect grass in North Plains because it's either too soggy or too dry. We have that problem in Sunset Ridge. We have a big grass area that's rarely usable. So that's why, as you said, the school is so popular, because the fake turf year round is a good surface for soccer, for running around. So if there are a way to add some of that, guaranteed, very, very popular. Obviously, Oregon, people love that, because even when it's raining, you can take your kids out there and run around.
Yeah.
So if it were possible to add a section of that, I think that would be very appealing.
I'm the other one that lives in Brent Hill. I don't say a whole lot usually in regards to questions. And I do have a few, if that's okay for Brent Hill and for the city. Because I wasn't here for any of this. I'm actually new to this seat as well. And then, so I guess from my understanding, it sounds like end of October is when you would be starting the parks for phase 5. Am I understanding that correctly?
If the design is ready
approved?
and presented by the city at that time, then we would like this to be winter construction jobs so that it's
Okay.
available for use early spring.
Okay. When would you need a finalized plan from us, from the city, from everybody? That we kind of know what we're working with.
In our eyes,
Yeah.
we have a lot of time.
Okay.
There's nothing of the phase 5 park that holds up Bryn Hill other than our development agreement.
Okay.
So, Lennar is very respectful of the agreements that we've created with the city, and would put forward, all the work going forward. So, I mean, we are just starting our next North Avenue frontage improvement.
Sure.
And then that will lead over into the west side of this coming year. So Lennar will be out here for pretty much all of 2025.
Okay.
So, if there's a design that's been made, we kind of will move forward with that timeline.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And then I guess my question for the city, and anybody can, I guess, take this, is one, as somebody that's new to this and meeting with Lennar for the first time, what exactly are you looking for from us, from the board? Are we making a final decision that's like, it's God, it's over? Or to me, if they don't go with the skate park, what happens? I guess I kind of want to know exactly what are you looking from us? What happens if they don't do the skate park and they decide to do something else? What's all this mean? I guess we kind of understand what we're looking at in full scope.
I believe what you'll be doing is making a recommendation,
Okay,
and then it'll go to council.
okay. So assume we make a recommendation either way, got it. But let's say that they decide they don't want to do it, what happens? If there's, right now I don't see a skate park on there. which is
That's their proposal right now.
correct.
Right.
And so then,
So
I mean, this is above us. So then what happens if, it sounds like you guys had an agreement potentially in place or at one point. So like what happens if this falls apart and they do something different? That way we can kind of help.
Well,
give the
here's
best-
several things. I don't believe you're gonna make a recommendation tonight, because it sounds
Correct.
like maybe you asked them to bring back some additional information to see
Yep.
more ideas.
For sure.
So I don't think anything's gonna happen tonight.
Wasn't planning on
It
that.
sounds
Yeah.
like we're kind of continuing the conversation to the next Parks Board meeting
Yep,
for them to have time to maybe show you some different layouts.
sure.
Once you have a layout that you want to vote on, that's what you would do. Then you would vote, somebody would make a motion. It would be seconded. You would vote on that, provided it's a majority of the park board that says aye. That would be the recommendation that we would move forward to the city council.
Right.
And then this whole presentation would move forward to them.
Mhm.
So they would share their ideas on why, we're changing and where we're going. And then the council would be, the decision maker. And then at that point,
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's my understanding that the design review for the parks, it's actually a staff decision, but it is supported by the Parks Board recommendation. Now, the financing of it may need to go to city council, and the maintenance agreement, development agreement for the actual financing part of it. But the
As you're
design
saying that-
itself, I believe that is a staff decision.
Yeah, that has.
I do agree with that. As far as any maintenance agreements go, if that's what is approved, I don't think there'll be any maintenance agreements for that.
Yes, and then we did discuss updating the development agreement to encompass the development of the bathroom
Okay.
and the agreement of city maintenance. So that might end up going to city council then.
Yeah, I apologize for the confusion there. Some of that, the parks were done prior to me arriving here, and so I haven't taken it through the full process yet, but I do remember that as being the correct process.
Okay,
So
yeah.
ultimately, it's going to be determined at the park boards in terms of some level of what's going to go into that park, but it ultimately comes through design review at the planning staff level, and that's where the ultimate approval for anything is done.
Yeah, so like the two linear parks in phase 3 and 4
Yeah.
were submitted, we discussed them last year, and then they were submitted to staff last summer to review and approve.
Yep, that is how we did it, yes.
Sounds good. No, I appreciate it. I just wasn't sure if there's a contractual issue or something. That's why I was asking the question that was. So,
So the 4 is quite a bit bigger than the 5, right?
Yes, so,
So if we were gonna try to put some fake turf in,
let's go one slide up.
would it make a lot more sense to be in 4 than 5 from your perspective?
Yeah, that might be an opportunity to put that field in there.
Because I think what you're already seeing, because I saw what you saw, you put in this beautiful putting green,
Mhm.
but already some of the kids are just using it to kick the ball around because they want that.
Yep,
And
yep.
so if we could provide that, if you felt it doesn't work from your perspective.
This is the design for phase 4 that we're presenting today. If we decide that this is a better opportune, placement for that field, or we can even do a half field with a goalie,
I think
like a
that-
full actual goal. This might be the more appropriate park, because this one's 1.25 acres, and then the other park is 0.65 acres. So substantially smaller. And in retrospect, it's gonna be smaller than the phase 2 park where the pickleball is currently. So just thinking kind of about that conceptually.
At Hawaii,
Smaller than the phase 2 park where the pickleball is. Yeah, that's about an acre.
I think Athleti is their regular soccer field, but they play a lot
Mhm.
side to side. So if you at least had a half with actual nets, it would probably be very helpful, like with little kids, you could actually practice with, and do stuff. But from the design point, you feel like that works?
I think that is something that we could put into the design and re-propose something to you guys. Yeah.
There's no way around it.
Evan, you have a question, bud?
My question was more towards the phase number 5 park. You said that several people have come to you from the living and development saying that they don't think a skate park would be correct for the
Mhm.
development. Did they give any other suggestions or just anything but a skate park?
We've been approached by the splash pad is another amenity item. The putting green is something that's, was really sought after and, talked about additional turf in the field. It would be great to be able to provide some more weather dependent spacing. So like, maybe another shelter structure that is a little bit bigger that can, house some people. Some of the great ones that have a fireplace incorporated with them is something that you can use during the winter months as well as the summer. So, there's been different ideas moving around, but as we talked about, that it might be an opportunity for a survey and then outlining some of those kind of key amenities that we'd like to present to the community to decide on and extend it to the public if that's something that you guys would like to see.
So
Are water parks quite expensive?
If we kind of do it on a small scale, they are there's quite a bit of maintenance. And because we do live in a very rainy climate, excuse me, it's kind of a variable use. So, as much as we would love to provide that, there's a lot of HOA costs associated with it if it was to be taken by the HOA. And then just for the kind of small duration of our summer for kind of splash pads, we thought maybe a fireplace area and a fire pit would be more used by the community.
And what would be the turnaround to do that survey? How would we get the feedback in regards to when that would take place or if it will?
Yeah. So if we were looking at the Bryn Hill community specifically, I think that's something that we could develop within the next couple weeks because we could use, some online software and with anonymous surveying. I think we are at about 60% capacity within the community. So there's quite a bit of homes that need to be developed and residents need to come in. So, if there was a public event coming in the near future where we could have anonymous surveys, on an iPad right there, and tabling it just to get some, further feedback. I think that's something that we could accommodate.
We have volunteers. Could you take flyers to the homes and then just give them where to go to fill a survey out?
Yeah, we could, definitely put together a cue card that gets submitted or sent out to the residents that has one of those QR codes to the survey. I've seen that done in other communities.
Is that something that we could utilize then for the rest of the city as well?
Well, yeah, so would this just be for residents of Bryn Hill because the parks are gonna be used by residents
The
of
city.
North Plains?
And I think that's kind of what I'm kind of trying to gauge feedback because Bryn Hill's not built out. So we only have about 60% capacity, but because of that public access easement, if we did want to extend it to the community, I might need a little assistance in getting that broadband.
Yeah.
But, through online sources, I think that's could be accomplished.
Well, and the city can post it in our regular public postings. We can put it in the newsletter. If there's a QR code for the survey, that makes it easy.
You do the city's Facebook, North.
Yeah, I just feel like the parks are there to be used by all the residents, so all the residents should have a
It would
say.
be nice to have them separate though, just to get a feel for Bryn Hill alone.
Well, that could be one of the questions is,
Do you live in Bryn Hill or do you live citywide? I mean, we've got
Yeah.
2 or 3 questions. I think the computer way is the better way to go, the computer survey. One thing I've noticed, if you're mailing the card, they might get it, but they also might throw it away.
Right.
Where the computer survey, they probably will answer it. And if you hang anything on someone's door, because people largely go in through their garage, it can be missed. The door hangers can get missed. So just two couple thoughts there for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I do want to be, just gonna say this too, I do want to be sensitive to everybody's time. You guys have been here a long time, so have everybody else too. Are there any other kind of final questions, thoughts?
So do you think that we can have this done by our next parks board meeting? The survey?
Do you have a date of that next meeting or is it decided
it's
upon?
the second Monday of,
Yeah, it'd be
so-
July 8th.
yeah.
July 8th, okay.
that's kind of quick for a survey. I mean,
Yeah,
the city's done several. We did one way back when we were first starting to upgrade some of the parks we had. And do you remember that? We have little stickers, put what you want, you know, and yeah, swimming pool was way up there, which we're years away from that. But I think a month maybe isn't long enough.
yeah, I would.
And that way you could have a booth at the Garlic Festival if you want and ask people there. You can have, yeah, I mean, you can have a table at the 4th of July event and ask people there, or you can wait and send out, you know, a computer generated survey
But if it's-
with the hopes that you get people back.
I think the sooner we get the survey,
I mean, if it's,
so that
Yeah.
we can do both. It can be those that don't attend the events through computer and that survey for us to have during the events coming up. Because, I mean, we need to take advantage, if we want to survey more than Bryn Hill, we need to take advantage of the events that are coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that we, go for it.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think we could achieve the full survey, within the next couple weeks and certainly by the next park board, especially with the upcoming holiday. And then have that available for, 1 to 2 months for people to respond back to. And by that time, we will be finishing up the phase 5 community and, then working on this design and getting ready to build those over the winter.
Yeah, I think, I like that. I think that's a good idea. I think, you know, I think we could all use a little bit of time to digest everything, get our thoughts together. I would like to see it, and then we could, yeah, the next meeting potentially then launch it. And then, you know, maybe go to the middle of August or end of July, however you want to do it as far as timeline, but then that gives us stuff to kind of work with and see what people want to do.
Does anyone have any additional amenities that they would like to see in the survey before we bring it to you? Is there any other suggestions other than the skate park or a field or a like fireplace gazebo or something along those lines?
I have one, I'm looking at, the phase 4 park, I believe. With all the trees around, has there been thought of some frisbee golf?
Oh, that would be fun. Yeah. Yeah, we could definitely look at that. Yeah.
Most stages
Mhm.
can do that.
The one thing I have caution on, to be honest, is fire.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of creating a place where people would burn things because the wrong people burn things just for the fun of it. We had one of the worst fires where I used to live, started by a group that was just having a fun fire pit, and some embers got lifted up and blew a half mile away and lit a giant field on fire. So I personally would probably stay away from that thing. I don't trust everybody with that, and I was one of the kids that loved fire when I was young, so you don't want me.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah.
So I'm sorry, can I ask the board, I know that a big portion here of phase 4 park is the amphitheater seating. Or how do you feel about that? Is that something that the city would use or?
Yeah, I think it's neat. Yeah,
How big of an area is that?
I think 100 feet.
Is that
Feet.
at least like, wait, 4 acres? That's kind of
Well,
great. Visual.
If you look at the shelter is right in front of it on the stage, it's 20 by 20. So that gives you a scale.
And is that gonna have power to it?
Yeah, we're, so the plan for this park is to include power to the restroom, have, you know, lighting, interior. We'll put, outlets like we did in phase 1, and we could put additional lighting in that stage. And then in this park, which different.
I'd make sure there's plenty of power.
Yeah. And then we will also put bollard lighting around this park just because of its higher size, for, you know, more safety at night while people are walking.
That would be a great place to have concerts in the park.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah, I think,
Movies in the park, dances in the park.
I like phase 4 as a whole. I think it looks really good. And
I'm also very happy with this one.
Maybe we
Yeah.
can get a theater group in here, if someone can start a theater group.
Sure.
I think the only question, does that impact the ability to have a half field somewhere?
Hmm?
You know, the idea of like a half soccer field.
I I think there might be some opportunity in that kind of western corridor
Still
right
have-
there, that we can, take a look at and kind of adjust some of our scale, of some of the amenities, but, just kind of what we reiterated, this park has kind of different nodes for different age groups, but really nice connectivity that people can associate with each other and still watch their kids, still, spend a good amount of time without having to leave this park.
I think to answer your question earlier too, you asked what we'd like to see in there. I think as a resident that lives in that neighborhood and you see what people use, I think, throw on skate park, splash pad, I think more playgrounds. Playgrounds are always full. Pickleball courts are always full. Basketball courts always used. I think you could almost recycle what you already have in there and just add a second across the board, and people will probably be very happy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think what you have in there already works. I don't think we necessarily need to reinvent the wheel if you're looking for options, but I think those always seem to be in use there.
Just anything but a grass field.
Appreciate it, yeah.
Anything else?
Is there any questions about the design concepts that we brought forward to the park? Because I think that's something that we're trying to at least create connectivity between the other parks and this park. So there will be probably, if we relook at the amenities, we'll uphold the design that we've already presented. Is that something that you guys have issues with? Do you like the current conceptual feel of the park? And then we can adjust the amenities and see how they go together.
I think it's more so on phase 5.
Okay.
I think phase 4, I think it's mostly all in agreement that is the feel, the look, everything. It's more phase 5 of the kind of wish list.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Sort of just looking at phase 5, it doesn't seem to have the same flow as the other parks.
Right.
All the other ones have a more circular, curvy flow. This one seems, it's not the same as it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You said phase 5 is kind of the one part that's kind of surrounded by homes.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind going to our larger map of Bryn Hill, yeah, that was perfect. So you can kind of just see how different the size of the park are. And that one is kind of one of the smaller parks after the linear parks.
It seems like that one's just closer to a lot of more condensed houses. So I think noise is a fair question, what kind of stuff, like, if a splash pad, for instance, my grandkids scream all the time.
It's right by the elementary school too.
Yeah.
Totally sensitive to that.
Yeah, and then, I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this, but in the future development of the North Avenue West section, there will be an illuminated crossing for connectivity across the street. So children will be able to go from that elementary school directly across the street, very safe, lit up, and then go into the community and possibly go to the parks as well.
That can be right across from the school or down the.
It's very close to the very western edge of the community. And that is kind of where that urban growth boundary ends. And so our development is within the frontage of Bryn Hill, and then that'll be right at that corner. When we start North Avenue East, that crosswalk that's lit up right there, we will be replacing with another solar powered one, and it will match the one that we're going to be on the west side as well.
It shows a little bit better if you go up one more slide.
Oh, yep, right there. Yep, just that connectivity piece.
I do have a question, a little off topic. What is going in the slide, previous slide? What is going in phase 1? That's the only one that's not labeled.
Oh,
Just curious.
that phase 1 triangle.
The phase
Or
1
that-
kind of square there.
Yes. So that currently is a commercial lot. It is the NC commercial zoning. Lennar is currently under ownership with that. And several different people have had the opportunity of looking into the piece and doing due diligence and putting forward a proposal, kind of depending on their needs and if that, they can make it work and move forward. You know, if it does not get developed after the very last home is built in Bryn Hill Phase 1, in 5 years' time, Lennar would have the opportunity to build on it, but if there's another buyer, that could be, you know, potentially apartments, commercial area, kind of depends on what that applicant will bring forward.
Okay. Thank you.
It's a totally separate discussion, but I don't know if it's more from you or from the city, but I'm presuming, I've talked to numerous people that live around there that would welcome some sort of open meeting so that they just have a better understanding, and I don't know if that's more the city or more you, but I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the residents would love a more open discussion of that since there's so many that live there.
Yeah, I don't know, per our previous land use, and the master plan of the community, what's allowed, and it really depends on the applicant that brings forward that development proposal.
I'm not saying, I'm just saying information sharing opportunity.
Yeah.
Because what I hear from the people I talk to around there, they just are clueless what's happening. So whether that comes from you or comes from the city, either way, I think that would be helpful. Not that they decided.
Any other?
That's
Go ahead.
parcel of house being considered for affordable housing.
I
That's
think
been
that,
discussed with the
yes.
city council.
If that application is approved, then Lennar would sell the property. I think the sale is contingent on that land use, but it depends on the agreements that we've set up already, with that.
Agreements that, and also whether they can get permits.
Are there any more questions for us about the parks? Yeah, well, we appreciate your time today. We really appreciate having an open discussion about what we can bring to your community and how we can highlight some of, you know, some of those characteristics that you all love of North Plains and why you're here. So we will work on some materials for you guys and hopefully, you know, have a new meeting and discuss it further.
Yeah, appreciate your time. Thank you for coming tonight. You anything from you before we wrap up and move on? Any final
I'm
thoughts,
good.
takeaways?
I've shared my thoughts tonight.
Okay.
I'm done.
Appreciate you guys coming.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. All right, and then we'll go down to the next one here, the North Plains Historical Society request. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Good evening. That's it.
Yeah, can hear you. Perfect.
Let me introduce myself. I'm Bush Kendall. I'm president of the North Plains Historical Society meeting. I chair this meeting with about 9 women. And if you haven't done that, you should try it. So they're here and they trust me, I guess, with the information I have on this letter, so. In thoughts, you see the 5 bullets. Of course, you see the old sign out there tonight, anybody look at it when you come in, it's just got this unique park. And I think it's been there at least 25 years, and it's wood, held up remarkably well. So the Historical Society meeting, there's some the women on there that knew this woman, and they think she needs more recognition than just a unique park. And if you see the bull over there, they always like to have her middle name in there to identify that she is a woman. Could be a man, could be, for those that don't know. You see that part in the back, what brings interest, we need a new sign. I did a nice one out here, and I think that was city. Rory probably knows more, I think that was city done The city funds or? park
This one
funds?
right out here? Yes. And that has the new city logo and stuff. It's the
Right,
new- yeah.
so, but the sign for Jesse Mays, I think we could put up another sign with your thoughts. But when I look at this monitor up here, my thought sitting here tonight, you know, it'd be nice if you had that picture of her in the back, with probably her picture on it, would probably be kind of a good thing that people could push it and look at it. I think that's probably possible. I don't know how expensive it is, but I mean, if you put that outside on a sign, all this information on the back, nobody's gonna read it. I mean, we're gonna drive in, most people that walk by might read it, but it's gonna go down. The weather is not gonna hold up, but this is nice. I mean, we need a new sign out there, either like, maybe incorporate like you have out here with her, maybe her picture and her name. I want you guys to think about that and give a report back to the Historical Society, what maybe you're thinking. This is not an urgent matter. You know, if you have anything done by the end of the year. I know some of them might be in a hurry because some of them are over 90. They don't wanna wait too long. Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
My thought is, you know, the signs around the murals, to do a colored sign, something like that. That way you could put all the verbiage and whatnot, pictures as well on it, and maybe attach it to the side of the building.
It's possible, and it's something I want you guys to think about in the park board. You know, we just throw out these ideas and want you to, you know, jump in and talk about this at your own meetings. We don't need to be here and come back when we have something maybe that you'd like to see as park board. We're here for your input, you know, help us, because I get 9 ideas over there, so I need your help here.
Well, Butch, thank you for being here. Is there any questions for him before we move on? I think it's a great topic. It's all.
I mean, I think it's a great idea. It's just a question of the scope of it, and they get super expensive, and who's gonna pay for it?
Right.
And then who's gonna actually design this idea? The concept is great, but if you came to us with a pre-approved, here's the $1,000 sign. You know, again, there's a lot of work involved with whoever's gonna conceptualize it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of probably price variances in.
And this is coming from like a group of ladies that work with recreation, and you want you guys to sort that out and see if it's even.
So they want us, you don't have anybody in hand that.
No, we do not, no, it's way beyond our scope of, the board at all. So, I want you to think about it and, massage it and, see what works either inside or outside and, come back with some ideas. And we don't have a lot of money. I mean, we only charge $20 a year per member. So 50 members is $1,000, so we don't have a lot of money. But let's see what happens, you know. They'll contribute some, but how much? And go from there. So.
Do you know by chance how much the signs around the murals cost?
Can you hear me okay?
No.
I can go take a better look at because we just replaced one of them not long ago. And so a sign of that extent, to include a base and everything, my initial estimate is going to be anywhere between $2,500 and $3,000. That's kind of based off of some other costs of other things. Probably get it a little bit cheaper. But I think there's $2,500 is probably a good guess based off of like something the size of this table and the base and the concrete and everything to go with it. That's probably reasonable.
I'm thinking also, Dustin, you know, that sign looks nice out there. It's very colorful. If you can incorporate the name and I have trouble with the reading on the back. This.
That's a lot of information.
That's a lot of information,
But we
something
can
inside-
we can do it up there.
Up
Oh,
there?
we can do it up there.
Or another monitor, that would just be, maybe, no,
No, because we have to program these, but we can make that so that it's every month, her picture and her,
Yeah.
um,
Okay,
you know, I mean, that's,
What about like the storyboard, kind of like the idea of the sign that we just got replaced, the North Plain sign?
Yeah.
You
yeah,
know how it
Mhm.
tells kind of like a story of like pictures, not in words?
That'd be a few $100 probably.
a few hundred. A few-
So, and it's colorful.
Well, talking about small, right?
Who designed the North Plains? Is that our AmeriCorps person?
Roland,
Yeah,
Roland had a lot
she
to
worked
do
with an artist on it.
I wonder if we could we ask for her help with this idea?
We can, yeah,
She did a really good job.
I think that they want the verbiage, though, not all the verbiage, but people want, they want
the
the
history.
history of
and the
it.
picture,
And you're not gonna get that from pictures.
Yeah.
so,
I think, again, I'm not trying to speak for everybody. I think this is something we should add to our short-term goals list and tackle it and get it done. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's, Jesse Mays to me, like being new here, this area, like this park is a staple of the city. It just
it
is.
is, it's been
And
on-
it's where, yeah, people take a lot of pride in it. And I think they should know what the name means and where it comes from. I think we can massage the amount of writing and the look and all that, but I think that that is something that this board should tackle and I'll.
You think all that verbiage that was on the screen like that, you think it's readable?
Oh, yeah,
Is it?
I mean,
Okay,
maybe not word for word, but it won't look as crowded.
yeah,
I mean,
but that's very colorful and very easy to read, so.
we would need,
But those are lots, and like I said, it's been 50 years, you know, just in usage from
Mhm.
when I came on. And, too bad the school wasn't there too, so it's not.
So
So this is something that, I think is very worthy.
I agree. And I appreciate you bringing it forward. Justin Gibson.
I was just gonna say, maybe like a bulletin board, we can get a placard like that fairly inexpensive. That's what I was thinking, like the storyboard. We can put something inside,
Yeah.
that's fairly inexpensive. And we've got, and we can check on the prices. I don't know who did the ones that are over there.
we have a big picture of her with the whole history underneath it. It's
Yeah.
probably back there.
Oh, we already have one.
Yeah.
I think we should do something for in here and then something out there and.
Well, I think the sign of the name,
Yeah.
that needs to be, the name change, Jesse Cypher Mays. That's an important thing that the historical society wants to see, her middle name.
The middle name.
Because right now we don't know, I mean, it could be a man or woman. But what, you know, but the new people that come in, they won't know, I think it's very appropriate. Anyway.
Thank you.
I think it's a good idea.
And, I'll tell them I was here and, see if I can hold them down. But later. So thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Butch, for being here. And I appreciate you being so patient and waiting through us through all this. So
Yeah, have a good day. Thank you.
we appreciate it. All right, we're good to circle back on some unfinished business real quick. I know we're a little late, so I want to make sure we're sensitive to everybody here. All right, let's go update on the kitchen appliances for Jesse Mays.
That's will be on hold, we'll bring an update in the next meeting.
Okay.
The meeting with the foundation last year, we weren't enough. I was sick and there was other people out, so there wasn't enough quorum to come together to meet.
Okay.
So the meeting was canceled last month.
Okay.
We are planning on meeting this month, so I will bring an update on that next.
Perfect. That sounds good. Was the application that we presented okay from your
What
perspective?
I did was I put it together in what Cindy gave me.
Oh,
and I
perfect.
included that piece in the back.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I kind of filled in on that.
Okay. And then I guess moving on from there, any update on concerts in the park?
Yes, we have one concert coming up June 29th with Macy Guard Band here. I believe it's from 6 to 8:30.
Okay.
And then we are waiting on word back from Northwest Shaker Band. They've been contacted and we're waiting to hear back, as well as the Garcia Birthday Band, waiting. Great.
Well, I want to say, I appreciate you guys' hard work through this and definitely looking forward to it. Anything else at all from anybody before we move on to guess at this point, pretty much wrapping it up.
And the other, I had a question about, is the movie still up in is still up for discussion for the
Yeah.
summer, or is that? I just had an update in regards to that. For
Please.
licensing, looking into licensing with one company, Swank.
Okay,
For movie, it depends on the movie, and it depends on the size of the crowd. I let them know or not, we wouldn't be charging, but I needed to confirm.
sure.
Because the licensing is depending on the size of the crowd, if you're going to have a fee associated to the gathering for the movie. But it ranged anywhere between 200 to 500 per movie. I did check in with the previous staff from City Hillsborough, because I know we did not pay that much when I was over there. So I'll have another quote from another company to come. My other thing was on, I know Andy had mentioned that we can borrow an inflatable or something like that as a sports.
City of Cornelius has
Cornelius.
all the equipment, and it just so happens their city manager that retired from there 2 years ago is our interim city manager right now.
Okay.
So I would suggest that you send an email to him, get some contact information over at City of Cornelius. I would, but their city recorder retired too, just like 2 months ago. I have no idea who they've hired over there, or I would contact.
So I will get the final pricing for the licensing, and I'll have contact with the current interim city manager, and I'll bring that information to our next meeting.
Thank you. Anything else? We'll move on. Down the home stretch. All right, board and staff comments. Mr. Weber, anything from you, sir?
Just an idea for the future, that we can talk more about the money, budget. I think we're getting to the point as the parks expand, that we need on a practical level, I'm sure Justin would say he's stretched thin with staffing. Could we ever find more budget that would help perhaps with a parks employee who helps specifically the parks things under Dustin? Could we also get some money that would help perhaps employ a part-time Parks Rec director, so we can more formalize what we're doing? I don't, just discussing the budget process, if we ever want to do some sort of levy. I don't have any, just discussing potentially, because I think funding of different things as we come forward. There's a new park coming online from Sunset Ridge. There'll be a restroom here. There'll be just more and more things we're asking the city to take care of. They're limited. So any way we could help the budget process to generate funding, I think at least start that conversation, how that works.
What kind of information specifically would you like? Because I can give you all sorts of different numbers, but I would like to be a little bit more specific.
I think just at a meeting, I don't think for some reason, we've never been allowed in the budget process. So how do we ask for money through the city? We haven't been allowed to do that. How do we get included in that discussion? Can we do that for small amounts? If we wanted to, a year from now, employ a half-time director of Parks and Rec, how do we go about doing that? How do we fund it? The levy, I know, was a thing they tried once for bigger stuff, like my idea of a rec center. That's more of a big thing, but anyway, just looking at all that.
My understanding is that we can give recommendations to the council, and based off of what we recommend, then council can set a budget for that. And so that's something that we can probably set up before the next budget cycle, because we're on that biannual budget cycle. So this July, we're like right in the middle. So there's not really a whole lot we can do at this point. We can set up like a I forget what the term is.
Well, I don't know, but we can have Bill come and talk early next year, before the budget meetings start.
So
About.
So even next time, I don't think we even understand when you make the application, which month you do things, just the preliminary, we don't have to announce.
it's going to be next spring before we really even talk about the budget for the
I'm
coming.
not saying we have to talk,
Yeah.
about it, just give us an understanding of the timelines.
Got
and
it.
Process. That would be helpful.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think there's openings on the budget committee.
You are correct, Sherry. They're posted.
Perfect. Ms. Simmons?
Thank you.
Ms. Barba?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, Ms. Burns?
Good.
Mr. King?
No, I don't, sorry.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Lauren, what about ASCAP? Do we have that all in place?
I don't know, I think the library's been doing that, but I'm not sure, I mean, I think we can get in under theirs. And we talked about this for movies too, because they show movies,
They let it lapse
okay?
from open, because I went in and asked them just a couple weeks ago, and they let that license lapse.
Okay, then we probably don't have anything at this time.
Okay, well, what about ASCAP? We have to have that.
Yeah, I'm sure we don't have it either, if nobody in City Hall has ever,
Oh, no, City Hall takes care of it.
not since Sierra and Sarah have been gone. It's not come up at all. I will check, but I
think you need to ask Jen. I know she's gone, but
I'm not asking her anything. Yeah, I will get with, finance and ask Bill.
okay.
So, yeah, and if it's lapsed, then we re-up it. Whatever you do to it, I don't know.
Yeah, you have to reapply because we can't have a concert, we can't have a garlic festival, we can't have anything to do with music until we have that.
Mr. King, anything from you?
I have not.
Okay. Does our ex officio chair have any news or updates to share from city council?
Excuse me. I just want to go back a long ways, 25, 30 years. We didn't have a board like this, and the city council did it all. I mean, it was 5 people when I first started here, and all those things came by, and we just had a mayor one time, then we finally hired a city manager about the middle of the 90s, so we've come a long way with all these boards. It's nice to see all these faces here besides just city council. This is really neat. I'm really interested what you guys do. So thank you for everything you do.
We appreciate it. Thank you for being here.
And city council meetings are a little more, they're more formal, you know, they have to make everything's all recorded, so.
Sure.
This is recorded too.
Okay, all right. So anyway, it's a lot more stuff to do, but it's okay. So thank you for what you do.
We appreciate it. And then possible topics for future meetings. I have a few. I think we should take some time over the next 3 or 4 weeks and come up with our final thoughts on the skate park issue. Like individually, what do we want to do with that? Are we keeping it? Are we scratching it? And then what's our recommendation? I think that we should also come up with some kind of questions for the poll for when they're here again, that we can, what, if we do get rid of it, what are we looking for? If we keep it, what else do we want the city to be involved with? Justin may sign, adding that as well. And then obviously taking updates from Concert in the Park and then a kitchen update as well. Is there anything else I'm missing? Anything else that you'd like to add on?
So,
For next-
should we come up with the items to be listed on the survey?
I think so.
And not just let people just run?
Correct. I think that we should,
We should come up with that.
yeah, what,
Or were they going to?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought she was going to.
But we could also add when we do the city side.
I think we should, what we'd like to see or any other changes we'd like to make, or Don's got a concern about fire, if we scratch it, what we're gonna put in the spot, things like that. And kind of just have an idea of what we'd like.
Doesn't have to be too complicated.
No, I agree. Should be simple.
Do you like skate park? Yes or no?
Right.
If so, what else would you want there?
Absolutely. And go from there. So is there anything else anybody wants to add?
Staff comment?
Yeah.
I've got a few things. Hopefully it's not going to take too long. One of the things about park budget that Don was talking about, to give you an example, we're taking over Sunset Ridge West here August 30th. And looking at the cost to run that park currently with the crew that they have for maintenance wise, it's about $11,000 a year for a actual nice maintenance crew that gets in and out and does everything. On top of that, it costs $7,000 just in water a year to maintain. So that's $18,000 a year to maintain that park. So that's one of the reasons why we have the HOAs do the thing that they do, just to kind of give you an idea. I have a crew of 4. My crew cannot do that park. So I have to hire a crew, basically the same maintenance crew that's doing it right now. Now, on top of that, that $7,000 that we were earning in water revenue, we are losing that. So that's something to kind of keep into consideration. So this brought forth some discussions about possibly doing a fee attached to our water bills. I'm not a huge fan of that, but we're trying to think of how are we going to be able to maintain our parks and our infrastructure like that with such a small crew, because my crew can't do it. And so after the UGB discussion, we're pretty much tabling that idea, because that idea was going to help us, possibly fund another maintenance worker and possibly a part-time to full-time community engagement parks director. But because of all that, we're just kind of tabling it right now. We're not quite ready for that discussion. And so that could be something that we can talk about in the future is what are ways we can be able to afford. All those SDCs that like Lennar and all these developers do, none of that goes towards maintenance. My understanding of all that is those SDCs go towards the building of new parks, and it does not go towards the maintenance of those parks. So that doesn't help us in that situation. So we need to have a funding mechanism for that. And so whether
Those aren't spent though, where do they go? If they're unused.
they're basically in the city, as far as I know, they're still in the city budget, and that's what the city council has to budget for other projects. And we can kind of get into that budget nitty gritty with that, but there's lots of potential here in the future. And I can probably talk with Bill about what can we actually, do with that money. And we've got some projects already earmarked in our budget, and some of them just kind of change over time. One of the things that's changed over time, dog park. We've already talked about the dog park and everything. I've talked to a lot of people about what their concerns are. And I've overwhelmingly people are excited about a dog park. The big downfall is that it's not a big space, but people are like, it's better than nothing. And what I'm going to try to do is put out information on the webpage of why we cannot do a playground there. There is a huge need for a playground in that side of town. And that's something that we do need to figure out how we can do that. But Jesse Mays is not the place for that, because there were cost studies, there was landscapers, there's engineers involved. There's a FEMA cut and fill. Like if we have to fill in there, not only do you have to get all the permits, we have to cut someplace else. And we don't have that within the city to be able to do that. So the feasibility of actually putting a playground there, we just cannot do that. And I think the people of North Plains need to understand why we can't do that. And it's like, yes, it's great. We would love to put a park there, but we can't at this time. So that's why a dog park is going in there. Let's talk about putting maybe a playground someplace else. I don't know where that would be. One of the places that got brought up was maybe Louis Wentz Park. And there's nothing there right now except for a small, quarter-acre lot and just kind of a picnic tables. There's not a whole lot. That's the only other place that we can think of. There's not really a whole lot of space at Veterans Park. There's no real good place for a playground, but we need a playground in the area. And that is also overwhelming. So it's like dog park, playground. We need to figure out how to kind of marry those things, but we cannot put a playground at Jesse Mays. At Pacific Park. I didn't mean to say Jesse Mays. Thank you.
Is it potentially feasible if there's leftover money from the Bryn Hill Park projects that they can be put towards a small little park that we're talking about? Because you said
If
money
we have
can be
places
used
to
to
put
build
it.
a park.
In theory, yes, but we also have other things budgeted. We have a contingency and everything budgeted for that as well. And for the dog park, we did have a budget that we can move some things around. So in theory, yes, but that would probably be a greater budget discussion that we can have with Bill in the future.
Is there, do other cities have park taxes?
Other city, like the fee that I was talking about, that it's added to like the water bill. Yes, there's other cities that have that, and that's something that has been discussed with staff. But we're kind of looking into it because I don't think that the North Plains residents are quite ready for a fee on top of their water bills right now. But a levy, a fee, I mean, like those are some of the few ways that we can afford some of this, but we really need to take a look. What do the people want?
Yeah, I'd like to have Bill here, because I'd like to find out why, because we have one of the very lowest tax rates anywhere. And
That was the highest.
no, it's the lowest.
It is one of the, it's, yeah, in Washington County, it's like the second to the lowest tax. Yeah. And we can't raise it.
We can't raise it.
That's what I wanted to find out.
But people want
They want the
amenities
services.
that we can't pay for.
And that's why our water rates are as high as they are, is because that funds the things for the city, because we cannot raise the property tax rates. That would be a discussion for Bill, our finance director.
That's what I'm saying, I'd like Bill.
Yeah. Was that measure 50? Is that the deal? But Bill can, it's
3%,
capped
yeah.
at 3%. Yeah.
Which is less than the rate of inflation the last how many years. So, yeah, you know, we're getting less and less money coming in, more and more people that want more and more amenities. It's, you know, we're going like this. So, and they, you know, they spoke when they voted down the safety levy. I mean, you know, they didn't want to pay extra for extra police coverage. So I think staff is a little bit hesitant to put anything else out in front of them at this time. They're, you know, I mean, nobody wants to pay more anything.
I need four more.
Expensive, so.
I need 4 more public works crew. We need about 3 more police officers. We need a couple more library person. We need more people all over the city. So we need a lot of people in the office at City Hall. So we just kind of have to figure out where our priorities are.
Sorry if I'm stepping back right now. The parks in Bryn Hill, does Public Works, will you have the same maintenance that you were talking about Sunset down the line, or is that going to be associated with the HOA?
The only things in Bryn Hill that the city crews will maintain are what we were talking about today. That would be the restrooms and the skate park. And that was kind of the maintenance agreement that Steve was talking about that was already in the works was almost 2 years. And those are the only things that the city was actually going to maintain. The rest of it was going to be the HOA maintained.
And none of those parks are ever going to go to the city.
No,
No.
that's correct. They still stay with
No.
the HOA.
It's
I just want to know, because that's something to think of. What, if we're going to plan a different phase?
Yeah.
What's going to create, I don't know.
Sunset Ridge West was kind of an anomaly when all that was done. And we're taking it over here in August.
Okay.
So we shouldn't see any more things like that.
I have a question as well with regards to Green Hill too. Will the public be aware of the phase 1, what they're gonna do in that space?
Yes, there'll be
'Cause-
meetings about it. I mean, right now it's all in Lennar's court. I mean, there's all kinds of rumors flying around on Facebook and, you know, I wish
Yeah.
people would call the city instead of going to Facebook, because you're never gonna get facts at Facebook.
Right,
But it's in Lennar's court. They have, I believe, the property up for sale.
okay,
And depending on who buys it will depend on what comes out of that and what moves forward.
Okay.
But we're not in that discussion at all right now,
gotcha.
so. And I sent out an email, I think it was last week. This has been a big topic among the city recorders in the state, is parks revenue and how cities are trying to pay for programs that people want, but there's no funding for them. Several of the cities get sponsors for their events, like for Concerts in the Park, they get, you know, a couple local sponsors and it's an option. I know nobody likes to go ask for money, but if it means being able to hold city events, for the residents like that, you gotta look at everything. There are some that encourage donations. They have, you know, I mean, they have like a box when you come to the concert in the park and people just drop money in there. We actually have one resident on the back of your water bills that says if you'd like to pay extra towards the parks fund, nobody even probably knows it's there. We have a resident that contributes almost every month. It may only be $2 or $3, but they do it every month. So, you know, it's a tough situation because we want to provide everything that the residents want. We do. Who doesn't? But the financial barriers that are in our way right now are just so huge to overcome when we don't even have staff to cover it all. So,
I think that should be part of an outreach then, in events, talk to community and how, because a lot of community is getting so much misinformation.
oh, so much.
Misinformation.
Yep,
And they're making their decisions based on this information.
correct.
So I think maybe that's something we should put on tap. I don't know if it's for ours to do, but I think maybe all the boards to do, for all of us to take turns at different, take advantage here in the summer and all of events to table and talk to people.
Yeah.
mean,
I tell you,
love
we
the
got
way-
so excited when people came in the last 2 weeks before the election, because they were like, I don't get this, I don't, you know, and just to explain it all,
Yeah.
not trying to, we can't sway them, you know, they just wanted facts. They said, I keep seeing this on Facebook, and then I see this, which is the opposite, and we provided them with facts.
Right.
And that's
exactly.
all we want to do is provide the facts, then you're on your own to make your own decision. But don't count on other people providing factual information.
Well, I really enjoyed the table that was there at the ice cream session.
That I couldn't make it, but I heard the turnout was
Yeah.
huge,
I think
It was,
something like
which is
that-
awesome. I love that.
Free ice cream.
I think something like that table should be at every single event in the city.
Agreed.
We went through 25 3-gallon buckets.
That's awesome.
of ice
Yeah.
cream.
Jim, I mean, it's just
And
turned
about
into,
1,000 people.
turned
ate.
into such a big event with so many other things besides the ice cream. That it's, I mean, before COVID, it was come and get ice cream. And now there's stuff for kids to do. There's, our police department has a table, the library has a table. It's quite the community event, and it's gonna evolve, continue to evolve, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
That was great.
So, yeah, and we love that opportunity for residents to come and speak with Chief Jones and the librarians and everybody. They just love the interaction, so.
There's a 4th of July event coming, I believe. We
It's only a
can,
parade.
if it's only a parade, okay. There's the National Night Out that maybe that's gonna be a park thing. We can have maybe a parks booth and get some kind of information out there.
And just so you know, we have our national night out a different night than everybody else does.
Yeah.
Because that way we can get lots of the police equipment and the police dog. And one year we had one of the equestrian teams, and we can't get that when we're competing with all the other bigger cities in the county. So it's on the city calendar. I don't remember what day it is, but
I think
August
it's on the
1st.
first.
yeah, so it's a different date than everyone else's, and it's been really hot the last several years. Patty knows it's been just unbearably hot, but thank goodness there's lots of trees out here, and we always have a great turnout.
Does anybody have any other questions for me? I'm pretty much done.
Good. Good, wrap it up. Okay. Well, if there's nothing else, our next meeting will be scheduled for July 8th. This concludes our Parks and Recreation meeting at 7:50.